Welcome. Friday the 3rd, 2025. It's my first drive time dialectic of 2025. I hope that you guys will stop in and take part in the conversation. You guys know I love drive time dialectics. I haven't done any for the last week and a half. Holidays and all of that. So I guess, for lack of better terminology, this is like season 3 premiere, episode 1 of season 3, or whatever you want to call it, of Drive Time Dialectics. So we're going to just do a little bit of rambling and chatting here while we wait for notifications to go out. For those of you that don't know, I'm TC, host, originator, founder, producer, but not researcher. I have a researcher. She will go unnamed by name. Hello, Nikki. Good to see you. Teresa, hi. Thanks for being here. You guys share this out. I think you're going to appreciate this content. It's not what some of you are used to. It's not my chicken streams. It's not the Freedom Flock streams, and it is not. I'm not going to be talking about law enforcement and corruptions with law enforcement. This is going to take a different track, but it all kind of ties in together. But yeah, anyway, so I'm TC. This is MBRR Media. We are changing things up a little bit. We're going to be doing some logo redesign. We're going to be doing some thumbnail redesign, and we are going to be staying on the same type of content, but I have branched out to multiple platforms now. I'm going to be working on getting Rumble up and running again. Might even start streaming to Rumble with some stuff. It's $10 a month though to stream to Rumble, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot of money to some people, but things is tight in the Minnesota Black Road Regiment MBRR Media household right now. Things is very tight, very, very tight. But yeah, MBRR Media, because we are on multiple streams right now. So we support, or we appreciate the support. Shout out to the Angry Vet, who is still in supporting us at the producer level over there, and to my anonymous show producer. She knows who she is. Thank you very much. And a big shout out to the show, the researcher for the channel, for the content. Without that individual, we would be all lacking in time, because my researcher is hardcore, very dedicated, and very good at what she does, and I couldn't do as much as I do without her. If you hello, Petey, boy. If you're a first-time person viewing, please hit the subscribe button. If you are a regular viewer, please hit the like and share. And let people know to get in here and listen, because we are in a place right now in our country where we are faced. Notice I don't say nation, by the way. The United States, the Republic of the United States, we're not a nation. We were never intended to be a nation. Someday we will probably talk about the myth of the proposition nation. And if, by the way, if you're not a channel member, you can either subscribe through Subscribestar, or you can become a channel member here on YouTube, and we will get those set up on Rumble when we get streaming over there as well. And if we can get set up on TikTok to 1,000, I'll be able to do live streams over there all at the same time. So, hey, we're gonna work some magic, right? But yeah, check out channel membership. So we are at a crossroads here in the Republic of the United States, or at least what's left of it, since Lincoln did his best to destroy it back during the American Civil War. I hate using that terminology because it doesn't meet the definition of a Civil War. But for what's left of our republic, we are we are in an interesting place. We are very much facing a crossroads that many people thought we came to and crossed successfully on November 5th of this year. The election, the countrywide, republic-wide election that we had in November, we see people talking about the big red wave, which, by the way, was not a big red wave. Trump did resoundingly win a re-election or election to his second term in office after taking that 4-year break. But up and down the line, mega candidates did not do nearly as well as Trump's results would have you believe that they should have done. And just today we have seen that there wasn't much of a fight, but there was some fight in Congress over who was going to be Speaker of the House. And there was a push by some, rightly so, Thomas Massie being one of them, to not put Mike Johnson back in as Speaker, even though Trump endorsed him. Now, I don't blame Thomas Massie for not wanting Johnson as Speaker. Johnson is a weak-kneed, feckless example of what has become of conservatism in the Republic, in the United States. Honestly, Mike Johnson is a great representative of the GOP ever since Lincoln. Feckless and not what it pretends to be. And yet, strangely enough, because there's only a 1-seat majority in the House of Representatives, MAGA got behind a feckless, spineless coward of a man and supported him. And all because their candidate, their president, Donald Trump, said, you've got to support Mike Johnson. You've got to get out there and you got to support Mike Johnson. And we can say what we want. And this isn't about MAGA. This isn't about Trump. This isn't about Harris, and it's not about the Democrats. This is about the danger of really loyalty to a populist candidate and an agenda in that regard over philosophical consistency and principle. And this is where this applies to so much of what I talk about on my channel. As many of you know, I talk about think local, act local, local activism, accountability activism. I talk about those things over and over and over and over again. And one of the reasons that I talk so much about think local and act local and remaining philosophically consistent and principled is because that's where it matters, is at the local level. And if you begin to become an adherent to voting for the win early on in political game or your political life, you will compromise to win. And compromising to win is always going to lead to loss down the road. Hey, Georgie, thanks for stopping in. Handsome. Been smoking today, Georgie? No one ever calls me handsome. I appreciate that, though. But then again, when you're used to looking at Skipper, what else are you left with? Oh, by the way, Skipper and I are going to be going live tomorrow for another episode. Skipper and I will be doing a live episode tomorrow morning of Vet Nation Live. And tomorrow's show is going to be serious, folks. So be looking for notifications there. Skipper's hand. Georgie, are you in duress right now? If you are in duress, please put a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 in the chat. If you are in duress. If Skipper is holding you hostage and making you say these things, please put a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 in the chat, or all of them. But anyway, if we don't remain philosophically consistent, if we don't remain principled in our philosophical positions, our worldview, then we will compromise to anything. And we saw that play out in numerous ways over the last 4 years, but even before. Let's go back to 2020, right? Let's go to 2020 and think about consistency. I say the wrong thing sometimes, Georgie. When we think back to January of 2020, we seemed on track, right, for a massive Trump victory. And I headed into January of 2020 saying to myself, after not having voted for Trump in 2016, that I think I can vote for Trump. I don't like the direction that this country is headed under the Dems, for sure. I've never voted for a Democrat, ever. Never voted for a Democrat. Like not even an exaggeration. Never voted for a Democrat in anything that would be considered a partisan election, ever. And even in nonpartisan local elections, I have screened candidates that I voted for in such a way so that if they later came out and said, oh, by the way, I'm a Democrat, it isn't philosophically consistent with what they say they stand for and what they actually support and vote for in their local political arena. Now, I said to myself after having voted, I think it was Constitution Party in 2016, I said, I'm going to support Trump because I think we're in a position right now where Trump winning is of utmost importance to the Republic, and in eliminating threats from the left. And while I had a lot of very strong philosophical differences going into 2020 with Trump, I disagreed with Trump on a lot of stuff. I don't believe Trump is a Second Amendment supporter. He has made it very clear through different terminology in the past that he is okay with all sorts of restrictions on the firearms. He supports red flag legislation. Going so far as to say, take the guns first, worry about due process later, which is just an absolutely atrocious position constitutionally for a person who claims to be, MAGA, right? Make America Great Again. You can't be MAGA and hold that position. Now, people have said he's walked that back, but I haven't heard him actually come out and say he's walking back on that position. He didn't start any new wars, but he did bomb the hell out of people. He assassinated Soleimani, Iranian general, who was fighting ISIS in Iraq. He was fighting ISIS. Iran was fighting ISIS, not to take control of Iraq, but to keep ISIS from spreading its influence into what we refer to as Persia, or used to refer to as Persia, Iran, Persia. The Iranians are not Arabs; they are Persians, and they wanted to control the absolute spread of ISIS and ISIL into the traditionally Persian-held lands, and that's why they were fighting ISIS. When Trump got word that Soleimani was in Iraq and basically a lot less protected than he would have been in Iran, he went ahead and ordered his assassination. No, Soleimani was an Iranian general, a mastermind of warfare for Iran in the sense of how he was handling ISIS. We did our level best under Trump to unseat Bashar al-Assad in Syria, going so far as to basically threaten war with Russia in the Middle East, because Russia was doing its best to keep Assad from being overthrown by ISIS. And by the way, ISIS in Syria, we stopped referring to them as ISIS. We started referring to them as moderate rebels who needed our support to overthrow this bloodthirsty dictator who was, yeah, I mean, like in the Middle East, you're like left with nothing else. A lot of people refer to Israel as the only democracy in the Middle East. Israel's not a democracy. It is a dictatorship. Like, if you look at the history of Netanyahu, like he's holding on to power by the skin of his teeth during a time of wartime crisis by basically threatening to shut down the Knesset and suspending their operation during this war that they've got going on. So Trump maybe didn't start any new wars, but he certainly had no aversion to bombing the living shit. No, this is not a political soapbox. I'm leading to something here, Tingleberry. Now, the Dems started lots of wars before Trump came into office. When we all know the wars that Bush started, going back to 2001 and 2008 until or 2004, and then we know that Obama had no problem with wars and bombing the crap out of people. Obama upped drone strikes and bombing in places like Yemen and Iraq and just pretty much all over, bombing American citizens, bombing and killing American citizens without due process. Well, it's, you know what, Georgie, I'm used to it. Nobody watches me. They'd rather watch my chickens, so I appreciate you asking people to share it. But nobody gives a fuck about what I have to say, honestly, so I don't even know why I do this anymore. I really don't. Yeah. You know what? That's a good point. I really don't know why I do this anymore.